The original KHOC.
Back and around the table, I'm Coleman Taylor along with Spree Hilliard, and our special guest in the studio is Robert Bigelow, who is one of the producers on the Running the Bases movie that's being shot in Harrison right now. And we've had a few people in about the movie, and Spree has worked on the set of the movie now for a few weeks too, and has been telling us all about that. But Robert Bigelow is, you're not just working on this movie, you've got a long career and doing a lot of things with a lot of films and television. Isn't that right? First of all, welcome in. It's good to have you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's so the Running the Bases movie to start off with. How much longer is that going to be being shot here in town?
We've got about a week and a half. We're going to be here in town, and then we do a couple days in Springfield, and then one day down in Plano, Texas.
Wow! So that's going all over the place.
Yeah.
As far as the overall shooting, the overall shooting production of it, how much longer is it before everything's shot? Before it's all
everything's shot. We'll finish all the shooting unless we end up having pickups or something like that. Which means we got to go back and get some things we didn't get before. The 21st will be our last day.
Yeah. Wow. Well, what can and I know there's a lot of things that you can't say about it, so we won't dwell on it for long. But what can you tell us about the movie Running the Bases?
Well, I tell you, it's a challenging film. It's sending an excellent message, an excellent Christian message, an excellent, not just faith-based though, but just a good overall message that the world needs to see more about facing challenges and how you get over those, and it faces some very hard and difficult ones as well in the movie. So it's something that people will hopefully learn from, and will give them a bit of strength to get through some of the problems that they are facing in their lives.
Yeah.
And now, Robert, you guys have been in Harrison for more than a month now, with kind of the pre-shooting stuff, getting ready, and then shooting. How has your experience been in town so far?
Man, this has been an amazing experience. I have not quite experienced in my career such a outpouring of generosity and a genuine love, really, and all the way around. I feel, we've the people here have been incredibly kind. They've opened their hearts. They've opened their doors to us. I mean, everything we've needed has been just like no problem doing it. And I got to give a quick shout out to those people over there at City Hall and the Parks and Rec guys, Chuck Eddington and Jerry Farmer and of course Mayor Jackson have been just unbelievable supporting us. And actually, it's like if I could take that whole team and take it to every movie I do, especially like Chuck and Jerry, I'm like, man, just come and work with us. It's great. But yeah, and some of the things too, I'll just be perfectly honest with you, because some of the challenges that I was concerned about coming to Harrison is, two of my partners are black African Americans, and Harrison has this crazy, and I'm going to say crazy because it is a crazy reputation that is undeserving, 100%. And coming to town here at first, we came about a month prior to us starting to shoot, and I was really worried. And about 4 days or so after we got here, we had our meeting with City Hall, and I was like, Mr. Mayor, I said, I'm not seeing it, not one bit.
Yeah.
And not even only to, I'll say this too, I've traveled all over the world and I've shot at many cities. And I would have to say that this is probably the most colorblind city I've seen. So I think it's so completely bizarre that it's completely the opposite.
Yeah.
Right.
But just like with anywhere, you're obviously going to have those pods of hate, anywhere
course.
you go.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's so minuscule here. I just really hope that one day we can shed that from Harrison, man, and hopefully we can help do that.
Well, that's awesome, and it's awesome to hear that because we talk about that, of how that we feel that way, that you could go to much larger cities and places and find all kinds of more prejudice and anti-Semitism, whatever words you want to throw out there about it, than what you'll find here. It's good to hear that from somebody coming in outside who just really just, a few months ago probably didn't even know Harrison hardly existed, right?
Right. Well, I didn't. And then, the first thing you look up, is you see this video and you see, most racist town in the world and all this kind of stuff. And I'm a retired law enforcement, and I'm actually able to carry anywhere I go. And I never do. Like, I haven't since the time I retired. But this was actually the first time I considered, like, I've got to travel with my two black executive producers. Maybe I should do that. I didn't, but, it's kind of like, But it was, but completely. I mean, I was just like, what? Did we go to the wrong Harrison? Like, this is not what I'm expecting. So,
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have you here, and thank you for those kind words, too. Now, what is your role on this movie?
my role is a supervising producer. Okay. So, what I do is you have a couple teams. You have a creative side of producing, which is the script writing, the storyteller, the directing. And then you have the supervising producer, the technical side of things, where you create your crew, you build the structure based off the script of what needs to have, like 1 or 2 cameras. Do we need cranes? Do we need drones? How many crew do we need? What are the areas we need to cover? So that's my job. I take the script and the story given to me, and I build the world to build their world.
Wow. Yeah. That's a rather large job, it sounds like.
It is. It is indeed. I've cried tears over this job. Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, and that's why it's really, you cannot be a micromanager. You cannot be somebody who is afraid to allow other people reign of their domain. So that's the biggest trick to success in this, is you have to trust the people you hire. And sure, sometimes you're looking at them and you're like, not quite sure why you're doing that, but you have to trust that, because if you don't, the wheels fall off. And so I've built an amazing crew. These guys are amazing, and I was really pleased because a huge majority, I was really worried about just finding crew in Arkansas. And I would say, man, probably 90% of our crew, is Arkansas-based crew. I'm hoping too. We've taught some people around Harrison itself. Because I'd like to bring another movie back here and giving them the experience, because I think it's going to be a growing industry here.
I think that'd be incredible. And, I promise I don't give too much away when I talk about it, but when I've been on the set a couple of times, I've been surprised at how many people I've met. And that's one of the first questions I ask is, where are you from? Because I'm a talker, so I'll talk to anybody.
No.
And I have, right?
You don't say.
And I have met people from Russellville, from over kind of near Little Rock. I've met people from all over the state of Arkansas, and I was thinking, like, you do this and you live in Arkansas? Like, I had no idea that there was this industry and people just go and work on sets that live in Arkansas. Like, it was just really neat to meet people from, and, several people from out of state as well, but it's just neat to meet people. And I don't think you have any idea how many people it takes to put on something like this.
Right. I mean, like, even, right now, and this is a relatively mild budget for this show.
Right.
It's good enough to be dangerous. It's big enough to be dangerous. But right now our crew is at 66 crew. So we're employing 66. Really, a majority of that, like I said, are Arkansas based. And so, but between that, even the mayor had come out and he was like, kind of blown away by like how big this footprint is, and we have giant techno cranes and so it is. There's a lot of moving parts. It's not just some guy out there in the camera.
No.
You have your people that do your hair, your makeup, your costumes, your camera operators, and there's 3 people that support each camera, and then your sound and your sound mixer, and I mean, then do you have to feed them all? So you feed them all, and then you have to make sure they have water and snacks all day long, and then the hotels, and then it's just like, and like even our hotels, I think, just to give you an idea of the impact that a movie has when it comes to your town, we have 2,600 man days in the hotel. Wow. So that's collectively it equals to 2,600 days of hotel rooms, that alone.
And think about the local restaurants, the impact on, and I know that when I've been on set, Jamie has been catering 2 meals a day.
Yep.
So, I mean, we appreciate you guys for the impact you've had on the local economy, because I think that it's been a lot bigger than most people expected.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to even it out, because I want to be fair to everybody, it's Jamie's and Neighbors Mills.
Oh, yes, Neighbors Mills,
well. So I just want to make sure.
2 good choices.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I may have snuck a box one night, too. I was like, oh, I love a box.
It's hard to get around that.
I know.
Indeed.
Now, in your career of doing this, because this is by no means the first set that you've been on or done things with, you have done some pretty major shows. One of the first ones that jumps out to me is you've done work on NCIS. This was a whole list of, I've got your IMDb database pulled up right here. Tell me about some of the other big shows, big name shows that we'll recognize right off the bat that you've been on.
Oh, well, I mean, probably some of the biggest one as far as television shows go would be NCIS. I mean, that was the number 1 running show on television for a long time, And then NCIS New Orleans, same thing, became the number one and number two with NCIS. Some of the other shows that were more cable-centric that people would focus on would be like Queen Sugar, which was a Oprah owned network, and the HBO series Treme. And that's probably the crowning achievement of my career as a sound mixer. And I won an Emmy for that.
Wow.
So that was amazing.
That's awesome.
And what was it? If you like music, I still to this day, I'm sitting here and it's just singed because it was the hardest show we've ever done. Everything was practical. We were doing 8-9 pages a day with 3 or 4 moves a day. And you've seen, now imagine a footprint twice as big as the film set that we're on now, moving 4 times a day. Man. And then all the music was live. We didn't do anything in the studio. So as we were shooting, we were recording the music. Wow. And that sounds simple if you've never been there, but we don't shoot things in sequence, so we don't start with scene 1, 2, 3, 4. And we also don't just shoot something, the whole go through. We move camera angles and so they can cut it close, tight, wide. And so we had to figure out ways to coordinate to get this music working with the camera. It was just not two things that generally gel together. And so we had a lot of issues. And some of the other issues on that show, too, is when you see the music outside, we couldn't have mic scenes. So we had to be creative about how we hid mics and different things like that to capture that. And then as far as the feature world goes, Octavia Spencer's Ma.
Yeah.
Did that. The Hunt, which was a big controversial movie that came out last year. And just several others. I can't remember so much.
There's so
Get
many
Out
things
was
on here.
another one that
Get
Out was a
forget
big
that
one.
Oscar award-winning Get Out. Wow, that's usually my calling card too.
And then even like Benji, like I saw that, and I was like, I've heard of that. Like, so you've done so many.
Yeah, that's my second favorite, Benji. I could work with Benji all day long. The beautiful thing about that's on Netflix right now, and the beautiful thing about that movie is the original. For those of you who remember the original Benji, you grew up with Benji. This is the son of the original Benji.
Really?
It's the person who directed. And actually, I got to meet Joe Camp. And after all these years, he told me the story about Benji and when Benji died. And he's tears after all these years. And I had this just really intimate moment with Joe Camp is his name. And it was just incredible. You like family movies and just ultra cute, just sticky cute movies. That is, you got to watch Benji.
Wow.
Well, you've got a little boy, Coleman. You guys should definitely check it out.
I do, absolutely, yeah. Now, speaking of sons, you're the supervising producer now. You were sound mixer on a lot of this stuff, but isn't your son working on this movie set?
Yes,
now?
indeed. It's a family affair, But I was very particular and very, very careful about that because, when you have working with family, there's a lot of that inner turmoil that kind of goes. So I started him, by his request, I started him in the industry when he was 16.
Wow.
And I worked with him like on his summer vacations and things like that up through college. But when he finished and graduated college, I said, that's it. You can't work with me anymore. You need to go out into the real world and learn how to work with other people other than your father. So I found one of the most technically minded and amazing mixers out there. His name's Bruce Latecki. And I said, Bruce, take my son. Now, the big thing about Bruce, he's also the hardest to work for ever. So I was like, well, I'm throwing him to the dogs, but when he comes back, I told him build a reputation. So when he finished American Horror Story and the HBO series Quarry, I said we could start working together. And in fact, Benji was probably one of the first, if not the first movies, a family movie that we worked together on. So it was really great.
That's awesome.
So,
sorry,
we need to go?
We are out of time. Yeah, running up against the top of this hour. But Robert Bigelow, supervising producer for the Running the Base movie, thank you for being in today.
Indeed. Thanks for having me. It's fun.
It's Around the Table on the original KHOZ. Back after this.